So I want to share a few of some of the solutions that we have seen in our work from the cities we work in globally. And Sophie will also share with you a link to our Cities Solve, Cities Deliver campaigns, where we collect different solutions that our cities are working on that really exhibit these qualities of resilience. And you can go there and explore them and learn further about them. So one solution I want to share with you is a project on wetland protection and restoration in Kigali. So this park, the Nyandungu Park, I hope I'm saying it well. If there's anyone from Rwanda, please feel free to correct me. Is a wetland eco park that rehabilitated a degraded wetland, which was really contaminated because of pollution and a lot of waste. And there was also communities that were encroaching upon it. And this wetland is also a space that collects water and has been historically a place for collecting water during high rains. And then, so because of the encroachment and the pollution, that space has not been used that way. There's also been a lot of biodiversity loss because of the pollution and the encroachment that has happened. So this project aimed to restore this wetland, but not just keep it as a wetland, but really create it as an area of recreation and tourism. So one of the stresses that Kigali is facing is the lack of green spaces, and this answered that while also creating jobs. So I think about 4,000 jobs were created in the process of this restoration. But then the space also, because the wetlands are equipped with certain plants, also helps maintain water quality and treat water from rains and floods. So again, reduces environmental pollution. Then there were also specific trees that were being planted throughout the process. So there was that allowed for the biodiversity that had been lost to return. So this project hit upon certain stresses, but really had stronger co-benefits around job creation and also the creation of spaces for people to enjoy. Another example I want to bring in is from the city I live in Addis Ababa, where the mayor's office has a very strong early childhood development program that tackles, issues around sufficient school systems, curriculums, and so on. But the team also saw that a big part of really the prosperity of children and creating a livable city is strengthening the economic opportunities of their homes. And a lot of these children rely on their mothers for providing them with the effective economic strength for them to keep going to school, to not come hungry, to not be distracted, to be able to do their homeworks and so on. So this program trains women and provides them with entrepreneurship training, and then afterwards provide them with seed capital for business development. It's an ongoing pilot that I thought was really interesting to bring in, because it addresses the stresses of homelessness, unemployment, lack of effective access to education, and then of course the shocks of sudden economic hardships. But at the same time, because the program really touches upon or is supporting communities, so people from the city, but also refugees and internally displaced people, it's really creating a stronger community and more social cohesion. And of course, it's also contributing to gender equality, because it allows for, it's creating pipelines for women to access the skills and also the capital they may not have been able to access before. Another solution I wanted to share with you is from Quezon City in the Philippines, but this is being implemented in Samarang and Milan, but also it started in Paris with their resilience work about 6 or 7 years ago. It's called the Oasis Schoolyard Program, and this aims to transform schoolyards into vibrant, climate resilient, and inclusive spaces. And there was a question earlier, right? We talked about how climate impacts like heat and floods are not just affecting the cities that are urbanizing and developing, but also the developed ones. And this is one of the solutions that helps address that. So it's really changing schoolyards and into these spaces that are basically gardens that are specifically designed to address urban heat reduction, so implementing shaded areas, trees, and garden surfaces to lower temperatures in schoolyards. And this is particularly important because kids are even more impacted by heat stress and heat waves. And then there's flood. These spaces are also designed to mitigate flooding, so using rain gardens and permeable surfaces and water management systems that really are able to store water and prevent flooding. So they're really kind of creating or adapting existing structures, existing schools to withstand these new challenges. So that's what I meant to say, like when we're thinking about resilience, we really can adapt our existing systems that are not able to keep up with the changes we're facing. So this program addresses urban heat, provides increasing access to green spaces, and is also a refuge during heat waves. And then also, again, as I mentioned, it impacts flood. It reduces flood impacts. But then it also improves the well-being of children, and also helps them understand heat and how to manage during heat times or during heat stress times, and then also teaching them about climate change and ecosystems and plants and so on, so they can engage and connect back to their environment as part of their learning process. I also want to mention one program from Chennai, which is an urban farming initiative that's working to promote to utilize basically vacant urban spaces across Chennai, India, including rooftops, parking areas, schools, to create these gardens that cool the city, because heat is a really huge issue there. And there are, like, similar to many other places, there are very many concretized spaces that make urban heat highlands even more potent. And so, but at the same time, they're creating more accessible food, healthy food options for people, and creating jobs for vulnerable communities. And then lastly, I want to share another project from Guadalajara in Mexico. It's called the Nests of Rain program, which is where communities and the city or the metropolitan government work together to install decentralized rainwater harvesting systems in vulnerable neighborhoods, providing households with access to clean, reliable water, especially because the metropolitan area is really water stressed and has been experiencing continuous droughts. There are about 8,000 of these or 9,000 of these systems across the city. So they're really helping address the stresses of water scarcity, droughts, and water infrastructure gaps, and also, of course, the shocks of flooding, because the rainwater is being collected and stored rather than going out onto the city and into these impermeable surfaces. But at the same time, they're having these co-benefits around economic saving because of decreased water bills, and then gender equity, because in the area, women do spend longer time collecting water in times of water scarcity, in times of droughts, and these systems are allowing them to access them easier and giving them their time back. If not, then I will ask you if you have any solutions that you've worked on that you want to share with us that you think embody these qualities that we've been discussing. Again, please feel free to raise your hands and speak, or you can also write in the chat. All right, we can move on to the next section, but again, please feel free to use the chat to share more information or anything that you're working on that you want to highlight, or you want some thoughts on from the audience.